Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I'm Kubra Ali and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada.
Suspect charged with impersonating a nurse at long-term care homes around the GTA. Ammonia leak at Halton pork factory sends 15 workers to hospital. Youth arrested, weapon recovered at Brampton High School. Canada will expel Chinese diplomats if there is evidence of wrongdoing. Jolly. Ontario considers expanding scope of practice for nurses, pharmacists, and more. Man and woman in hospital after double shooting North York. School bus with primary students on board crashes into van in Whitby.
These were the headlines and now let's jump right into the details.
Police say they have laid charges against an Oshawa woman who allegedly impersonated a nurse working for at least 4 retirement homes and long-term care homes throughout the GTA. According to police, the suspect impersonated a registered practical nurse and managed to gain employment as such at various senior homes and long-term care homes from 2021 onward. Police allege that she had fraudulent documentation from various governing bodies to bolster her job applications and that she is not in fact registered with the College of Nurses of Ontario. They did not list the homes where she was allegedly employed under false pretenses. Investigators said in a news release Thursday that they arrested a suspect on March 8. They said 25-year-old Ali Elizabeth Sampat has been charged with 11 offenses including fraud over $5,000, uttering forged documents, impersonation with intent, and possessing identity information with interference of fraud. The charges have not yet been tested in court. Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly confirmed Thursday that Canada denied a diplomatic visa request from a Chinese political operative last fall due to concerns about foreign interference and said she wouldn't hesitate to expel diplomats for the same reason. Facing a barrage of questions from opposition members of parliament, Joly laid out the tools the Canadian government is using to combat foreign interference in response to questions about recent allegations of Chinese meddling. She told MPs that it's easier to keep people from engaging in foreign interference by blocking them from coming into the country rather than monitoring them when they are already in Canada. But she said diplomats operating in Canada can also be expelled if there is evidence under the Vienna Convention, a United Nations code governing international diplomacy, that they engaged in interference. Amid criticism from Conservative MPs over the fact that Canada has not expelled any such actors, Joly said her political opponents are looking for an easy fix that would prompt the retaliatory expelling of Canadian diplomats from China and could endanger Canadians who live overseas. Joly echoed comments from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who is facing intense scrutiny over the issue of foreign interference and has responded by accusing Conservatives of politicizing national security. A committee of parliamentarians that oversees national security said Wednesday that it has begun a study of foreign interference following Trudeau's request earlier this week. In a statement, the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians said it will examine the state of foreign interference in Canada's democratic processes since 2018. That will continue to work done in its previous review of the government's response to foreign interference, which covered the period from 2015 to 2018. Earlier this week, Trudeau urged the committee and another spy watchdog, the National Security and Intelligence Review Agency, to look into foreign interference in light of recent concerns about possible Chinese meddling in the last 2 federal elections. Ontario is considering expanding the scope of what certain health professionals, such as nurses, can do in periods of high patient volumes. A spokesperson for Health Minister Sylvia Jones said in a statement that the government has already recently expanded the scope of practice for pharmacists, allowing them to prescribe for certain conditions and allowing nurse practitioners to order MRI and CT scans, and the now government is looking to give more professionals more powers. Our government's Your Health Act, if passed, will increase staffing levels on a short-term basis to manage periods of high patient volume by allowing healthcare professionals to work outside of their regular responsibilities, Hannah Jensen wrote. She did not offer information on how short-term basis or periods of high patient volume will be defined. The ministry is looking at giving registered nurses prescribing powers, allowing nurse practitioners to order and apply defibrillation and apply ECGs, allowing pharmacists to administer certain substances by injection or inhalation, and allowing chiropodists midwives, naturopaths, and optometrists to describe more drugs, among other expansions, Jensen said. A key aim of the legislation is to allow more private clinics to offer certain publicly funded surgeries and procedures in a bid to lower wait times, though critics are concerned about the expansion of private delivery of public health care. The NDP and the Ontario Health Coalition advocacy group raised concerns Thursday about language in the health bill they say could deregulate certain health professions and allow people to call themselves doctors and nurses even if not necessarily qualified. Jones said at an unrelated announcement in Hamilton that section of the bill is intended to allow for new as of right rules which would let health professionals work in Ontario without having to immediately register with the regulatory colleges in this province. Liberal health critic Adil Shamji said he suspects that it is indeed what that schedule of the bill is intended to do, but he criticized the progressive conservatives for leaving that and too much else in the bill up to regulations that get decided by government and not debated in the legislature as part of the legislation itself. The devil is in the details, he said. A school bus driver has been charged with careless driving after allegedly rolling through a stop sign and crashing into a van in Whitby on Thursday morning, Ontario Provincial Police say. Paramedics assessed the students and only minor injuries were reported, officers said. No one was taken to the hospital. OPP Sergeant Carrie Smith said 35 children between the ages of 12 and 11 were on the bus while on a field trip. Students who were present on the bus while it crashed told CTV News Toronto that the group was between the ages of 12 and 14. The school bus was exiting Highway 412 when it rolled through the stop sign and struck the van heading eastbound on Highway 7, Schmidt said. The van had the right of way and an investigation is now underway into whether the school bus rolled through a stop sign, OPP say. Officers charged the bus driver, 46-year-old Oshawa man, with careless driving. An ammonia leak at Halton Pork Factory has sent 15 employees to hospital Thursday, police confirmed. According to the service, the leak was reported from inside Fairman's Pork Inc., located at 821 Appleby Line in Burlington, Ontario, just after 11 a.m. Emergency services confirmed to TP24 that 15 workers were transported to a local hospital with not life-threatening injuries. Approximately 15 employees have been transported to hospital for precautionary measures. Evacuated staff are being relocated to the Appleby Arena, police confirmed to CP24. The Ministry of Labour, alongside the Regional Fire and Emergency Services, was responded. Police remain on the scene to assist fire and emergency services and assist displaced individuals. In 2020, an animal rights advocate was killed while holding a vigil outside Fairman's Pork Inc. A youth has been arrested after Peel police were called to Brampton School Thursday for reports of a person with a weapon. Harold Brathwaite Secondary School near Sandalwood Parkway and Great Lakes Drive was placed in a hold and secured just after 12 p.m. Thursday. By 12:35 p.m., it had been lifted. Officers arrested one youth at scene, the service said, and the weapon has been recovered. Residents can expect police presence at the school as the investigation continues.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Have a good night.